All right. On today's episode of the Anime Village podcast, I welcome on a very, very special guest. He's Coach Tremaine Dalton. He's the owner of the Process Basketball. Coach, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. I'm super excited to have you on the show. We're talking a bit off there. I love basketball. I love what you do. Everything that you're doing as well too is awesome. So being able to bring my favorite sport into the anime world into this podcast is just I'm super excited to have you on the
Man,
show.
I'm excited too, man. I'm excited that we got to this point and we're gonna get some great information out to everybody.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I want to start off though because basketball has been a big part of my life, and I know it's been a big part of your life. But where did your passion of basketball come from?
Well, basketball actually saved my life. I'm originally from Michigan. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan too, but back and forth. And it kept me out the streets. I had somewhat of a tough past when I was a kid, man. You can imagine what the street life is like. And
Yeah,
playing basketball kept my attention away from it all. And not to mention, some of the guys who were involved in certain activities, they kind of protected me from that because I was so good in basketball. So that's where my passion of the sport came from. And, eventually I ended up playing pro in college and all that stuff. But that never was my intention. I just wanted to beat all the best players at every park from different neighborhoods. Yeah, that
I
was
love
my
that.
start of basketball. I used to go to different areas, sometimes places that was dangerous, and I just wanted to walk away like the best guy, like on some Street Fighter stuff. Like that's what I was on. Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome. I
yeah.
did like your name spread around like the area, just knowing that like oh watch out for Tremaine. He's coming here to
Yeah,
kick your butt.
yeah. I used to have a basketball called the knowledge. We used to call it the no. I used to draw all over. You know, everybody doing art with basketballs now. But back in the day, I had a basketball card. They used to call me Knowledge, and I had the basketball card to know. So I drew all over it. I used to take it all the parks because and it was like the proof of point because most of the time when you take balls to parks, people steal it.
Yeah,
But people embodied this basketball like it was alive, and it was like, oh no, we can't touch the no, And yeah, that, that's really how it started for me in basketball.
oh
When
my
I
God.
once I started getting that validation and just feeling good going to different neighborhoods and parks, whether it's St. Cecilia in Detroit, whether it's Alexander and King Park in Grand Rapids, I mean, Chicago, on the South Side, all the way to Venice Beach, where I just came from. Once I started getting that validation, I just felt like, yeah, I'm here.
Is that like where like and you're the king of one on one or yeah and like is that where that one on one like desire started to come from of just being like to play that one on one basketball against people? Did you enjoy that the most or like just overall
Yeah,
just basketball period? Like
yeah. I enjoyed that more than anything because that was a way as a kid to make money.
yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I had somewhat of a tough background. So I would bet, and I would say, hey, if you score 9 points, you win. And I got to, or if you score once, you win. We going up to 10, and I got to score all 10. And that killer instinct just developed in me over time, and I used to just wipe people out. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah, that's how I used to make money. So
Yeah,
I would go to different neighborhoods, and then you'll hear about it in middle school. You hear about it in high school. I'll come to school, and then people would be like, yo, it's like Tremaine, he wiping people out. He going to this neighborhood. He going to that neighborhood. He making money, and that's how I really built my name.
that's awesome. I mean, that's such a cool way to like build your name, but and it's a like and to like build your basketball skills going around playing one on one, but also get your name out. So when you're playing in high school, the people like know they're like, oh shoot, Tremaine's coming in today to like play against our
Yeah,
team. Yeah, yeah,
they knew me before I was when I was living in Grand Rapids at the time. That's where I really was hard on this. I was tough on this, and before I even played in high school or middle school, people knew me as a street ball player.
yeah.
Like they almost like they knew I was coming. Like
I love that.
I was like the Ryu of the guy. I'm walking around with a little backpack, headband dirty, just going from park to park, tethered shorts, and just they see me approach and they see the knowledge. That was my backpack, and then that was it. Like here we go, you know.
I love
And then,
that.
yeah, that was what's going on in my head, and it just be manifested in the real life.
That's awesome. I mean, so all that basketball that led you to play. Did you play for St. You played for St. Mary's, right?
Yeah, yep. Before that, I played for West Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Transferred over to St. Mary's. Yep.
And what was the experience like to play for, both West Virginia Tech and St. Mary's?
It was cool. It was a learning experience. really getting established in organized basketball, understanding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
High school, I did all right, but and I didn't have the grades really to go Division 1. But once I got to college, I got to understand more of the structure of basketball, the business side of basketball, how serious it was. Being in shape, because mind you, my high school year, I used to hoop. I was on that Allen Iverson regimen, just
Yeah.
getting in shape through basketball. But once I got to college, next thing you know, you're running mountains and doing 28 suicides. You're like, oh man, but I had a lot of success in college though. My team, we didn't do so well, but I came out being an All-American and I led my conference in scoring.
Wow.
Yeah, I led the nation in free throws. I was top in the nation in three-point percentage, field goal percentage. Like I went crazy. So I ended up getting a lot of college. I ended up getting a lot of pro opportunities out of college.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And that led you to play overseas. I mean, what was the experience playing overseas, and how was that like?
that also was a journey. That was
Yeah.
even, it was step after step. I call them arcs. You had the high school arc, college arc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went to Israel first. I was there as a practice player. I actually came close to playing against Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Yeah, I played for a team. I was a practice player for a team named Maccabi Haifa in the north of Israel. And before I actually signed my contract, they was doing like a U.S. tour. When they play overseas teams, play NBA teams.
Yeah.
When Kobe tore his Achilles, the team where he had his first game and he had like 18 to 20 was this team. And if I
Wow.
would have signed a contract, like let's say a month earlier, I would have played Kobe.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then after that, I played in France, a little bit in France, and I was playing in a small club. And in the preseason, I was averaging like 60. And then, I was going wild, man.
Oh my
But
God, man.
it wasn't Pro A, it wasn't Pro B. It was just a small club testing the waters.
Yeah.
And after I went to Australia, and then I did okay there, and then that's when I finished out my career.
That's awesome. So what was the decision after basketball how to start the process basketball? Wow, how did you come up with the name first of all, and then what led you into, getting into one-on-one training and, becoming a basketball skills development?
Well, everything is a process, as you can see, even with what I spoke about so far. When I was in Australia, I could still play now. I still got the juice now. But I had a kid. He's from China. He plays for the Chinese 3-on-3 national team, or he did. He was my first client, and he was in Australia at the time. And he walked up to me. He was like, "Look, man, I know who you are from that King of the Rock one-on-one stuff. I'll give you $100 to train me." So I'm thinking like $100 for an hour. Okay. And I know I have to be honest with myself. I'm not the most disciplined person at the time when it came to conditioning and stuff.
Yeah.
I was so harped on, and that's what I teach my athletes, like focus on everything, not just yourself. My talent overshadowed working hard. You know what I'm saying? So when I was playing, I was always tapped. What got me over the hump was when I was in the past, just running through people. And I carried that all the way to the pros. Once I got to the pros, and even in college, I realized that you need more. And I looked at myself in the mirror and was like, do I really want to give that much more?
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to transition. Basketball for me was if you're a Wu-Tang fan, where Quan says all the time, it's just a hobby that I picked up in the lobby.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about basketball. I'm more of a businessman, or I'm more of a creator than the basketball, and I just so happen to know how to play basketball.
Yeah.
So that it was an easy transition for me.
I love that. I mean, obviously you work with some great players, some with NBA, WNBA, overseas pros. How was it like to build up that clientele and get your name out there?
It's easy because what I did was harp on quality rather than just trying to get everybody.
Yeah.
What I did at the time was I went to France, and as you know, I used to be this top one-on-one player. I fulfilled the niche before everybody else. So around when I got started, 2016, 2017, that's when Europe was starting to grow, but they didn't understand how we played in the United States. So when I was in France, I was one of the first guys to teach all those Europeans how to play that one-on-one style game. So you can say that a lot of the Europeans you see now in the NBA and they playing like us, I had my hand in it some way, somehow. I have a tutorial that's considered a French classic and one of the most successful basketball tutorials in all French-speaking languages. Yeah, and from what I understand, because I work with some French national team players, that some people use that in the World Championships and stuff like that. I don't know how true it is. Yeah, they beat the United States. And again, this thing generated over 3-4 million views total. So somebody had to watch it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a classic, you know. So and I'm really like over in France, I'm somewhat of a celebrity, so it's real prevalent over there with everything that I do. And I keep my same 15, 20 clients. I don't break out. We just focus on what we focus on, and then when we finish up what we finish, then somebody else steps in. It's like Fight Club, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Find your way in the process. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I think that's such a like I started the video fantastic, like what you did and created, but how did you like find I know overseas basketball is such a like a big different style of like a basketball of how we play here. Like you mentioned, there's not as much one-on-one and there's a lot of like team. Like if you're scoring 11 points per game, you're considered like a good player
Right.
and a system and everything. How did you like decide to find that niche and kind of like go over there and kind of show like, hey, this is how we do it in America. Like this is the one-on-one basketball. Like as you see, like AI, great Kobe, like same thing, Jordan, like those guys all did one-on-one. Like how did you bring that over to the France? Like what was the decision to bring that over to France?
Well, it's not just France. I work with the Swedish national team, the Estonian national team, Israel national team, just all throughout Europe. And what I figured out was not to bring ego to the equation and just combine both styles.
Yeah.
We harp on looking for taking the isolation opportunities in the United States.
Right.
What I focus more on is creating a moment within the playset of European basketball.
Okay.
So yeah, so like take 2 or 3 dribbles, get right to your set before you even catch the ball, and just get your shot off. You know, whereas you got the Kyries of the world, or you have the James Hardens of the world, and they dribble, step. But not to take nothing away from it, these are some of the greatest players that will ever play the game, but that's just not the game everywhere. And what I figured out is just a simple way to get that shot off and get that same momentum and opportunities with less dribbles, with less action. That also plays in the defense as well. Like, you know, when you play 2K, you're doing all that dribbling and you losing your bar. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, get to red and you can't make a shot. It's the same way in real life. You know, you cut those dribbles down, you just get it off, whether you make it or not, and you can take it back off on defense. So once I was able to communicate that to European coaches and European players, now it's considered one of the top in the world. Not so much in America, but the rest of the world, the process is there. Yep.
That's I mean, it's phenomenal that you're able to tap into that market and then make that video. When you first came up with the idea of the video and like get the translator, like how did that all process like work out where you're like, hey, I want to do this, and then it just obviously exploded and you got like over 3 million views and everything. So like what was the first, because you're a businessman, and I mean we'll talk about more about all the businesses you have because I love the ideas that you have and I'm excited to like jump into those. But like this is another one too that's just like it's something that didn't exist, and you're hitting different markets that don't really exist, and it's really, really cool. So your brain is always thinking on the business side.
Working.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, basically it was a YouTuber. His name was Hoopsedia. He was like a real big YouTuber out in France.
Yeah.
And he came to me. Like, you know, I'm a big man, you know, I believe in destiny manifests and stuff like that. So things come to you when they're supposed to come. Yeah. And he came to me and he wanted to do this series called MUP, which most unexpected player. And it was about me teaching somebody who can't play basketball and getting them to the pros. And then I got them to the pros. Yeah. And it was just these concepts that I'm speaking of now. And now he's working for EuroLeague. He's doing a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I got him to the pros. And it was a 7-part series. I think some of it was on TV. And it was playing out in France, and it was playing out in where else? I think Belgium. Yeah, because they speak French out there.
Yeah.
And it just turned up. Like, and a lot of people still use it to this day. And then I created my own, the second part. It's in 8 different languages.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
I like I'm your biggest fan right now. Like just like from our conversation, just I love basketball, but I love what you're doing. I love that you're so business savvy too on like the basketball side, and just taking advantage of like not taking advantage, but like figuring ways out to get it out to the world, which is just fantastic. You don't see that much. It's unbelievable, man. I love that.
I just say, just stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Like the origins of everything that I'm doing really came from that Red Bull King of the Rock and me, you know, doing my thing and that. I beat Dusan Balut, you know, he's the best 3-on-3 player of all time. I wiped him out, and that's really what gave me my confidence. It really because that's my origins. It wasn't playing pro. It wasn't playing none of that. It was just 1-on-1, 3-on-3, street ball, and I was just able to combine that and make it make sense with professional basketball. Now that's really the current style of basketball today.
Yeah, it really is. Tell us about, well, I want to know about the Alcatraz. I wanted to get into that too, of like how that tournament was, that setup. It looked awesome on TV. I remember watching some of it. What was like, first of all, getting involved with it? How'd you get involved with it? And then what was it like to go through all that process down to the Final Four and everything?
Man, so I was broke at the time.
Yeah.
And I was in Phoenix playing for the semi-pro team out there, the Arizona Scorpions or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I was down to my last $100 or something. And then I had one of my friends, they just dropped me off because you win 1,000. So I wasn't even thinking about the tournament. I went back to that Detroit, Grand Rapids roots. I got to get this money.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't even thinking about the competition, and I just wiped everybody out. That was in the regionals and on the West Coast. And I just wiped everybody out. So that's how that really went down. Like I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just needed some money at the time. And then after that, we had the Alcatraz part, the international finals, and that's when I prepared for that. And I realized it was like some real top-notch players in there. It was even some NBA players in it. And I actually lost to Baby Shaq, the N1 streetball player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I haven't lost a one-on-one game in probably since then. And then before that, I haven't lost at all. So he probably was the only person who I ever lost to. But I'm not going. It was some things going on in there because he had the name and the foul calling and stuff like that. But I will say, but I'm not going to take away from him. He can hoop, like he can really play. And I was the closest person to beat him. And then after that, he wiped everybody out. So that was cool. It was a great atmosphere, great people from all over the world, Israel, Japan, China. That's when the world was a lot more peaceful and everybody was coming together. Everybody. Yeah. And it was like the top people from those areas. And then I came out, strong. And like people was coming up to me like, yo, like you really should have won this whole thing. Like, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and I just stayed in touch with a lot of people. My opportunity to go to Israel was because of that tournament, because I was playing against an Israeli player.
Wow. So it just opened up a bunch of, and that's what opened up the doors to get going with the process.
Yeah. I mean, I got a little bit of character, so I know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And, so just being cool with everybody and not making everything so much about basketball, not making everything so much about winning or losing, and that being my personality. You got basketball players, they lose, they shut themselves in the room for 30, 40 days.
Yeah.
I learn from it. You got basketball players who put themselves in situations where their careers aren't working out. I try to understand why, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's not for me, I'm a dreadhead, so, I'm more of a hippie, relax, chill type of view about the world. So, and I believe that's what has gotten me to the success.
I think that's the best approach to have about it. And like being the person you are, you have great personality and everything that you're doing, and you're very business savvy again. But I want to know too, because the process has grown. I mean, you have academies, you have Grand Rapids, Dalton, Georgia, and you have some academies in France as well too. What's it been like to, give back and add those academies?
It's been great. We just finished up one in Panama too, Central America.
Wow.
Where I work with the Olympic Committee.
Wow.
And the biggest parts away from just the basketball is the philanthropy. I'm one of the few people in the world with a reference letter from Homeland Security in terms of what I do with community initiative stuff. So just to sum it up, what I do is take my top athletes and then I combine them with whatever social issues is going on in their area. So like, let's say, for example, when I work with the Estonian national team, the American government, the Estonia U.S. Embassy flew me out. We did a project where we did basketball camps for Russian communities, peace talks, diplomatic stuff, and what's going on between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
I've been doing peace talks for like the last 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. The embassy wrote me a big reference letter talking about the things that I do, from gender equality, or racial equality all throughout Europe. I went, head to head with FIBA. Let's say, for example, Panama homelessness, because I also work with their national team. let's say in Israel, peace with Israel and Palestine and stuff like that, specifically working with Shahad.
Yeah.
Australia, multiculturalism. All this stuff has been featured in some of the biggest magazines from Fansided, CBS Sports, SB Nation. Sports Center was just at my program because I have a facility in the French Riviera. Sports Center, they covered that. L'Equipe, which is the biggest magazine in France, they came out, they documented the whole thing. So yeah, like away from just the basketball, the philanthropy is really the bigger part. I did the follow-up camp to LeBron James's More Than the Athlete campaign that he did a while back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Pigalle. I was helping kids doing free camps and stuff like that. So that's really what really turned it up, what elevated everything.
That's awesome. I mean, having that philanthropy and being able to do that, where the idea come from, and like how did like get the recognition to do that? I mean, you mentioned Estonia, but like did it start with Estonia, or like how did that eventually just kind of work its way into where it is today?
Well, I've been a good guy, at least.
Yeah.
So I do a gun violence program every year in Grand Rapids because that's where I'm originally from.
Yeah.
So and I was always like when I was in Israel, I'm one of the players who, if I'm in an environment and you get a work visa, you should work, not just play.
Yeah.
So I was working for the Israeli government in like the educational system in terms of like doing sports and education. I was like a director out there.
Wow.
And a lot of the programs that I was doing was helping like Ethiopians and Russian communities when I was there in the first place. So that's what really sparked it off. And I was just like, hey, well, I need to keep this going. It's on my resume now. So when I got to France, it was the same way. When I got to Australia, I tapped in with Helping Hoops, for example, in Australia. And I started doing free programs for them. And then eventually it just grew and grew and grew. And when I was already working with the Estonian national team. And then they was doing a program with the government already. So they just threw me in there. And now it's to the point where, I could connect with any embassy around the world and say, hey, let's do a project. And they all for it because I built that rapport.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
My next project, once we complete everything, I have one in September 8th in New York where we're opening the basketball court.
Oh, nice.
And another one with Oprah and Prince Harry. They have an organization called Humanity Crew. And we're working with one of their organizations to go help Syrian refugees in Greece.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's like later on. Yeah. So that's why I said, like, man, I got so much stuff going on. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know how you do everything all at once and stay organized and do everything, but you do it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I just make stuff up as I go, man. And I just let it land. Like that's why I knew this. I knew this was gonna be easy because I'm just going. I'm speaking my truth. So if I feel like I'm in a position where if I can connect with the right people and have the right conversations, then we can make it happen. We can make it happen.
I love that. I love the attitude though, but that's the thing. It's like you're just going out there to and you're doing it. You believe in it, you're doing it, and you're making the connections, and it's grown massively. Just to look like now you're doing something with Oprah and Prince Harry with their humanity. Like it's crazy. It's awesome. Wow. That's amazing for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll actually be there, but it was the intro to it all was on Apple TV.
Yeah,
I'll put it on my website, so they allow me to do that. And it's it's just I'm blessed. Let me say it like that. Blessed, yeah. Coming from where I came from, I'm blessed.
It's awesome, man. I'm like it's such like a great story. Your story is an amazing story from where you came from to where you are today. And what I like about it is now you're building comics and mangas, and I think those are telling your story, like having your story. And I think you mentioned this is for the build up for your sons, right? So for your sons to kind of like understand your story and everything, which is well, I love that. I watched the first one that you sent over to me, but tell me about the name of your comic. Tell the listeners about the name of your comic, but also like tell us the idea behind it and like what's it been like to develop that. And it's just amazing. I love it.
Man, thank you. It's definitely been a journey. I had to learn how to connect with different animators. I had to figure that out. And it's called Old Man Dalton. And I'm an old man now, so that's really where it comes from. But I can beat all my clients. Like it don't matter if you're an Olympian, it don't matter what you got going on. When it comes to that one-on-one, that's my shit. And basically over the years, I've documented some of the one-on-one competitions that I had, whether it's NBA players, national teams, one of them being the Estonia national team.
Yeah.
And I just decided to make my sons, they're young, so they haven't had the opportunity to be a part of these journeys. And I just wanted to document it and make it fun for them, so when they get older, they can see it. And we got the real. And what I did was made two versions. I made a cartoon version, and I made a manga version. For people like us, diehard. The cartoon version is we're going to try to get it in the schools. Gym classes, art classes, stuff like that.
I love
and
that.
What's different from this and everything else, and I'm glad I copyrighted it and all, but basically it has a QR code on it. So as you're reading a comic book, you could put your phone up, and then it goes to YouTube, and you can see the actual video, the real action of what happened. So, like, let's say if I'm going against the Estonia national team or NBA player, you're reading the story, you're going from square to square, and you see the QR code, you put your phone in there, and you see the results. You see us play one-on-one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you go to page to page, every country, you see what I'm doing, you see me cooking, doing my thing, and it's doing really well. And then that's in conjunction with the app. Once we drop the app, you got the comic book or you got the manga, you sign up, you go play, we can play one-on-one, you can do whatever. And it's for the origins of it was I was in COVID jail in Panama.
Yeah.
So I was in there for 2 weeks in a hotel, and I was bored as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I like the most? And it's definitely not working out. So I started making a comic book, and then start using my connections, and then it's doing well. Like, it's doing well.
It's phenomenal. It was so cool. I mean, I watched the first one. The move that I keep thinking about in my head, that when you're playing against Estonia, like there's a flash of you playing against the Estonia team, and there's a move that you do like on the base, in the corner of the baseline, go like back between your legs, just blow right by the guy and hit it like a layup. I was like, oh my, like my mouth dropped. I was like, that was so quick. I had to rewind it to rewatch it again.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, I still got it. Like, it's to the point where people really don't want to play me no more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's to the point also where I say if we play, I won't put it in on camera because it can affect somebody's career. At the end of the day, I'm a coach.
Right.
And if you're getting wiped out by a coach, that means you don't need to play basketball. And that's what I tell my clients, like, don't let me beat you. Because I'm talking.
I love it. But I love the idea that you have with the comics and mangas and like getting it out there and then eventually making it into a cartoon. I think that's just such a fantastic idea, and to like build that out and to continue to like share your journey with like, not with your sons, but with everyone. I think it's cool that you're getting it out there to everyone. But I want to know too, because that brings in the idea of like manga. Where'd you're wearing a Naruto shirt, you're representing. So like, where'd your passion for the manga and the anime come from to like build this out?
Well, my first one this is Samurai Champloo. That was my first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I really was drawn to it because of the hip hop side of it.
Yeah.
It's only 26 episodes, and it never came out with nothing else. No. And then I just watch it over and over and over again, just because of the stories, the characters, all of it. And then with the two main characters, you see the discipline side, but you see, the hip hop randomness and this, that, and the other, and Mugen. So I think both sides are a part of me.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you got the hand of God, the main character. I think that's where I'm at now. So I feel like that's the greatest cartoon that I've ever watched. I mean, I watched the Dragon Ball Z's, I watched the One Punch Mans, I do all that, but that's really where my start came from Samurai Champloo. I like Cowboy Bebop too. That was cool too.
Yeah, but I love that we connected over Samurai Champloo. Like that's how we connected. I love Samurai Champloo the same way that you do. I love the mix of the hip hop with like the episodes, the stories is fantastic. Mugen and Jean are all time just like great character. Like you said, the discipline, the wild. But I love that you compared yourself to the Hand of God because you're at that like level too of those. But that fight too between Jean and the Hand of God is probably one of my all-time favorite fights. Right?
Very simple, but it's crazy, especially the initial one when they both fighting.
Yeah.
And he cutting up the water and he shadow boxing and he doing all that stuff. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah.
That fight is like one of the best fights I've ever watched in anime. I just like it draws me back to it. But yeah, no, that's awesome that you love Samurai Champloo like I do. But also too, I work for a company called Anime Village. This is part of their podcast network as well. Probably their podcast.
All right, and
And
I don't mean to cut you off. I forgot about Afro Samurai.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
good. I love
yeah.
Afro Samurai. the,
I just
the
had to
Samuel Jackson too as the voice of it is
magnifique.
yeah,
Perfect.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yep, yep, absolutely. That's another one I have to go back and rewatch as well
yeah.
too. But I work for a company called Anime Village. This is their podcast, but we work close together. Anime Village is they're creating their own mangas,
Okay.
and they create all the genres. So they have Shogun, they have Adventure, they have Slice of Life, and they have Supernatural, and each of those mangas are based on original stories that are written by one of our co-founders, Brian. And then eventually what we have too is a metaverse game that are based off these mangas. So
Okay.
what you can do is take your favorite character from the manga and go play in the same storyline. So you're like going to play
Wow.
your character and everything. And there's an RPG version of it too. And
Wow.
yeah, so it's like really cool. So the RPG, your character, so like the character in Adamanto, his name's Shinichi. He's the main character. So the RPG, it doesn't like in RPGs they level up. Well, this
Right.
one it's different because you have to learn your sword skills. So like instead the character's already a master sword bladesmith, but he gets new weapons. You have to like
Right.
learn how to use those weapons, and that's like the part of it. So that's what we're doing here at Anime Village. And then eventually we're going to get into streaming and stuff like that. But we want to get your thoughts because you have your own, you're doing almost the same thing. I mean, you have your own mangas, and you're getting into the streaming part of it as well too. We wanted to get your thoughts and the gaming part too. Like you're doing a cool part of the game, but what we want to get your thoughts being a fan of manga and doing the same thing. What are your thoughts on what we're doing here in Anime Village?
I think it's good because you guys are making it interactive.
Yeah.
It's not limited, especially it's not limited to just the comic book itself because it's a new time. We got memes, we got stream, we got all that stuff. So things are moving a lot faster, and it's harder to keep the attention of the youth. So
Yeah,
I
right.
think it's this stuff. So with 15 seconds, you just go on to the next reel. But I think you guys making it interactive and almost giving it a sense of a transition from the actual comic to a video game. I think that's excellent. That was my motivation with what I had going on. It keeps a reader engaged, especially if it's live from the video game and the comic book, and you can continue to put more and more episodes out due to the fact that it's not about the actual character itself, but about the weapons.
Yeah.
You can make as many weapons as you want, so
Right.
it never run out. And mine is actually the opposite. I made mine more of a Samurai Champloo style anyway. Like I'm probably gonna do this twice, because now I'm getting 3-on-3, and then
Yeah.
that's it. So I'm gonna try to create like a cult following with it. But you guys, with unlimited weapons and stuff like that, you can transition in time. So like,
Yeah.
let's say in the beginning he uses swords and stuff, and then later on he using guns, weapon. So no, I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's a story. I basically like explain it in a sense of it's not like we're linear, it's just straight manga and streaming.
right?
It's a universe. You're taking your favorite character and you're taking him out and playing it with him in the world, but also you can take that favorite character and bring him into another manga too, as well, that we
Right.
have like the supernatural. So you can have like a Shogun character in the supernatural. So it's
Right.
fun. And like, but you're also kind of doing the same, like you're basically doing the same thing that we have going on too. It's
Right.
really cool to connect with someone that is with like on the same page too with us and like doing things that we have going on here.
Yeah, man, I would love to join in. You can make the old man Dalton character like Akuma.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
super character.
seriously. Yeah, we
You
could
throw
have
me in there, like No, I would love to actually talk business or talk how we can put some stuff together. I think that'd be great. I
yeah.
think the connection with both of our everybody's ideas and resources and stuff like that. I think this is really the opportunity, especially with AI kicking in.
Yeah.
Like this is the moment right here. This is
Yeah,
the moment.
seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So this is the moment, and I'm just fortunate enough to have basketball behind me. I'm fortunate enough to have be such a great trainer, have the philanthropy stuff going on. That my comic book also has a tutorial connected to it too. So imagine a kid from China, Japan, or wherever, Mexico, or even in the States, he can read the comic. He's learning English, and then turns around, he can go. It's a Hebrew, even Arabic. He can go at the end of it and he can use the tutorial to learn his basketball skills. So that's my way of making it interactive, but you also get to read and, do everything like that. So yeah, I see you guys. You guys are going in the right direction.
Yeah. And what you're doing too is you're on top of just like, doing the manga, but like doing that, like with the QR code and being able to get like a kid, you're spreading the love of basketball. Like, and you're giving a kid like an opportunity to, learn a skill that they might not be able to hire a full-time trainer, or might not be able to catch something on like YouTube, or might not even would have thought of that. So what you're doing is just the for love of the game. I'm like, you're spreading the word of basketball. Like, and like, a lot of people, like, you never know, a pro could come up down the line like 20 years from now, 25 years now, and say they learned something from Coach Trey, like saying,
Right.
like, yeah, like I learned what on the manga, on his mangas and the comics, which is awesome.
Right. Right. It might even introduce somebody into basketball who wasn't even thinking about it, because the point of it is just to make kids feel good about themselves and a way to turn them into superheroes. Like, I mean, we don't have powers. We don't have telekinesis, and we're not telepaths, and we don't have laser beams. So I believe, in my mind, my way of basically having my superpower was basketball.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like Darwin, like I can adapt to any situation. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's the way I play basketball. I counter, so being able to do that, that was my superpower. I had a little bit of strength. I had a little bit of speed, and sports was my superpower. So that's what this comic is about. Just you'll be able to travel the world and meet so many different people and engage in competition without destroying buildings.
Yeah.
You
Right.
destroying rims.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, so,
I,
yeah, picking up cars and throwing them across the. Let's pick up the basketball. Like, you know,
I
so
love it. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
I also want to touch upon you brought it up a little bit, but I want to bring it up if it's okay with you. If not, then we don't have to. But I want to talk about your game that you have that's out in it's an app. It's out in Japan. If it's cool, like I don't know if it's a secret, but I don't know, or we could.
No, I can speak a little bit about it, but
Yeah,
we're still trying to finish it up.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just basically like Pokemon Go. It's called Basketball One on One Ranking.com, and it's just like Pokemon Go. So like, let's say if we wanted to hoop, we could take out our phones, you log in, we hit each other's phones just so it can sync. We play each other one on one, and then you can bring out the camera to record it. They upload it to the site, or they upload it to the app, and then it streams for people to see the one on one game. And you keep the score. The more times you win, you get coins to get shoes of your character, your avatar. It's a cool game, man. It's cool. And right now, we just taking the time to really make it the right way, because times aren't what it used to be. So
yeah.
and it's okay. Like, it's doing all right. Right now, we're kind of like trying to see what we're gonna do next. I'm waiting for them to, but I'm pushing my stuff to really get the momentum going, and I'm just excited to see what happens next. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
that's
Cool.
that's so cool. I can't wait for that. I mean, I'll definitely. I don't know how much my knees are not what they used to be, so I don't know.
No, no.
I'm old. I don't know.
And
I
you can,
used to do it, man. Used to ball, but I can't
yeah,
keep
I
up
still got it,
anymore.
man. I got to do it. Like, I got to have it, because with this training stuff, you have so many trainers now
Yeah.
that I think what broke me through is being able to prove it. It's
Right.
one thing to come in and say, "Oh, do this, do that," but it's another thing to say, "Hey, I'll wipe you out. Like, what's up? Like, what you want to do?" And now the player is, because with basketball training, you have to break the player. You don't have to break the player, but you have to sometimes get into the player's ego.
Yeah.
A lot of times, these guys are making millions and millions upon millions of dollars, so you can't tell them nothing. But if you humbly can beat this player, and he can take it as a learning lesson, and then his skills to go exponentially, grow exponentially. I got a player named Adonis Arms. He didn't even play in high school, but now he's at the summer league playing with Brooklyn.
That's
You know,
crazy.
yeah, like he actually the only player who I didn't beat. We tied because we played King of the Court. And yeah, like if you can humbly, like a karate master on some Shaolin, like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah. I
you
know what you're
know,
saying.
legs folded, like, and they, whatever, like, you beat them, and then now it wakes them up. Now they want to learn the discipline. Now they want to, like, your teachings are the truth, and that's the way You see, I'm just all into the Wu-Tang anime.
I
That's
love it.
that what really revolves around this whole thing that I'm doing. If you really want to sum it up, like, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
I absolutely love it. Everything that you're doing, coach, is just fantastic. And like, you're such a great person. You're so kind and very well spoke, like very easy to speak to, and you make it like, and your business savvy, and but you're making basketball fun. And I think you're gonna do some things for like kids out there that they're gonna pick up one of your mangas, read it, and they're gonna pick up basketball moves, and you're gonna be training kids that you didn't even know you were training, and they're gonna be thanking you for everything that you did for
I
them
hope
when they
so.
were younger.
I really, really hope so. I really hope so. It's been a journey, and I'm just going into it with an open mind, open heart, and just doing me pretty much. Whatever happens, happens.
I
Yeah.
I like it. Well, Coach, this has been a fun interview. Um,
Absolutely.
and thank you so much for joining our show. We really appreciate you. Is there anything, questions, comments, or statements before we sign off?
No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you for reaching out. Keep doing what you're doing with Samurai Champloo. That's how this, the universe connects everybody. And
Absolutely.
no, I'm just happy that we can do another one. It's cool.
But
In the future, yeah.
yeah, let's do one for sure again. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and maybe I'll try to catch you. I live on the East Coast, so maybe I'll try to catch you in New York in September or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay.
yeah,
All
I can try to figure something out, but I'll get up there for sure.
right. Okay.
All
Dope.
right,
I'll give you the details. All right.
cool. Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right.